In a world full of somewheres with somebodies, sometimes it's nice to just sit back, relax, and journey to nowhere with Cardboard Command.
We are live.
I'm editing this out.
Why? That's
What? You
freaking
can't.
gold,
That's
man.
gold. That is gold. That's what we're gonna get known for now.
I'm hoping we'll have a different theme song than that. But you know what? Hey,
It's pretty good. I don't know.
if I edit, I'll edit it out, and it may become the intro song to the show.
Right.
I like it. I'm down. Yep.
Mhm.
And if anybody supports this, please comment below.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
man.
I believe
Hey there,
for
Twitch.
podcasts, it's reviews.
Ah.
reviews.
They can hear us, and they can see us.
They can see us, they can hear us, and welcome to our podcast, which we've now named Journey to
Journey
Nowhere.
to nowhere. Sorry.
Journey.
We got this.
No.
And John
Hey,
responds at instant
No.
speed.
Halfway through that, I remembered that we don't speak at the same time. So, on my end, I swear it was perfect. I timed it perfectly. But I knew, you might have seen it in my eyes, that I just knew that it was falling apart very quickly. Or it was never together
Oh, God.
in the first place.
We will find out in post-production.
Yeah. Oh, that's
I'm
great.
gonna realign that part in post and take out this explanation.
I love
And
that.
Then I'll sound really, really smart.
Realign it and leave the explanation in, and then it sounds awesome.
Yeah. We'll let you have that one,
Yeah,
John.
you already sound so smart.
Thank you.
And who do we got here today? We got John, we got Colin, we got Lucas, and I'm Spencer, and we are Cardboard Command.
Sorry.
That kills me.
On
I
our
much
very, our amazingly timed and very, very professional podcast. You can tell we've been doing this for a number of minutes. You know,
Trust me.
we're getting this.
Many
This is
minutes.
rolling.
Right.
We've been
Not
doing this for
many.
like
Tens
to
of
say-
minutes. Tens of minutes, literally.
Hey, we're over a
incredible.
week now.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, you guys are going to be really impressed when we get back in person. I am just going to knock that out of the park. It'll be really creepy because I'll just be saying the exact same thing, like in sentences and paragraphs that you guys were saying.
We're saying,
Uh,
damn
yeah.
it.
All right. Well, I believe Spencer wanted to get us started, but I derailed it twice. Continue.
It's all good. I understand you're playing at instant speed. You got a ley line out. And
Nice.
today on the stack, we decided last week that we would be doing white color identity because it's a big issue in Commander in terms of like figuring out color balance in terms of power, in terms of its card draw ability, its ramp, and those are two of the things that we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss the themes of it to try and relate it to how we might fix the problems related to it, namely the mechanics. So mechanic ideas will be pitched as well, and then we have one other thing to discuss, that is companion change. There was a change to the companion system and the mechanic, and the changes also affect Commander. So let's talk about that.
A wee bit. Yes.
Just within a week's time, right? Last week we were talking all about Companion and our thoughts on it and how it works. And then within 1 week, it's like, oh,
Yeah, and we had strong thoughts about that.
Yeah.
that
When I-
mechanic.
When our first podcast is published, we're going to sound really stupid.
Right.
In this
It
one,
was
we can just be like,
changed.
"Oh, wow, we sorry. It takes time to put out a podcast. Your first one."
Your first
We
one.
should maybe we
And
should
then
have
our
like a
second
little.
one. Oh, go ahead.
Maybe we should have a disclaimer at the beginning of it and just be like, "Hey, this was before the companion change."
Disclaimer: If you
This
want
is
up-to-date
wrong.
information about the magic world, don't listen to this
Yeah,
podcast.
exactly. No, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Give
You
us
want
a
minimum-
bit of time.
Let's lull them into a false sense of we know what we're talking about, and then hit them, surprise them.
Well,
They
maybe
are
what we
not
should do
CNN.
to
I
resolve
love playing
that.
Magiark.
Marger.
You mean Mergic?
The gathering.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I meant. Yeah, Mergic.
Oh God.
The gathering.
All right, let's talk white. Let's get into it.
Oh, wait, we're getting into white color identity.
Yeah.
Unless you guys want to do companion first, because it does seem relevant to last week.
Ooh, the reverse introduction.
Whoa.
Yeah, okay.
Whoop. Remix.
I like
All right.
I like it.
What did
Yeah,
they do?
why don't we knock it out?
Let's
Knock
get it
it?
out of here.
All right.
Yeah.
So
It's
they
still garbage.
What's
Get rid
the
of
hot
it.
dish?
changed.
Tell us the hot dish there.
Okay, so from what I understand, they now changed it to on your turn at sorcery speed, you pay 3 colorless mana, and you now put the companion into your hand as an additional cost. So it's the same costs plus 3 colorless, basically, at sorcery speed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you're
And
paying
it's
3
not-
to do the one guaranteed draw.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not an ability that you can like stifle or anything either.
Yeah, just you can do it, and it's uninterruptible, right? Nobody can do anything about it.
No responses. Yeah, it's not on the stack.
Yeah, so it's like that one trick pony. You draw the card, and then you would play it as normal out of your hand like anything else,
Yeah.
right? Ooh,
And Wizards.
go ahead, John.
Okay. Yeah, and I was reading something about it, and Wizards said, it's in an effort to push back and broadcast the casting of this card, right? So essentially, if you're going, you probably want to play cards that you have and that your deck is built around early, like a companion, and we're good. Yeah, you probably want to. That's good. You probably want to play a companion early, so it's likely that it would just be pushed back, from being cast on whatever, like turn 3 or whatever, to kind of a turn later, and that extra mana cost as well helps to kind of decrease the power level of it and make it a bit more accessible, or a bit less competitive, I guess, was the idea. I mean, I think that's a fine change. We'll see how it works out. You still have 101 cards in your commander deck, which I don't know.
Seems
I don't know
weird.
about that.
Because that's the thought. Then it's like, so then are people gonna play it? Is it gonna get played as nearly as much? Like, now knowing this, how likely are you to incorporate this in your deck? Like, it hasn't even crossed my mind.
Me neither.
Ooh. I'm
Yep.
excited about this because now I get to play devil's advocate again. Ha!
Nice.
I know I said as a joke, it's garbage. It's still garbage. Get rid of it. I don't actually feel that way. I feel the opposite. I like this change a lot. It makes it a more niche mechanic that isn't going to be used in every deck in Commander. In fact, most decks will avoid it unless they really want to do something kind of interesting and cool. Like have a character, like some sort of like you have some cool legendary creature who's, I don't know, maybe some human who has like a pet fox, for example, in their companion zone, which is kind of cool.
Are
It's
you
like
creating
partner,
a character currently? It sounds like you're making your own magic card right now. The
I'm
guy
not.
and the fox. Okay, you're not. Okay,
I'm
Pretty
not.
cool.
No, I more mean like imagine you played Winota and had what's that fox's name that you were talking about earlier, John?
Zerdan, is it?
Yeah, and then you put
Zerda?
that in the companion zone, and then it's like they got a little pet. It's kind of cool. I also like the idea that it isn't in its own zone to be played from that zone. It has to be paid 3 and slot it back into your hand, which means it's a card you play from your hand, so Dranith doesn't turn it off, because Dranith is
Yeah.
annoying card.
Oh
So
my
Dranith
God,
is the
yeah.
mono white 2 to cast human, and you can't cast cards not from your hand.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
it's
sure that's exactly how they wrote it.
pretty much.
It's called like
Something like
Dranith,
that, yeah.
Dranith Magistrate or something.
You know, I pulled one of
and
those
it-
from my box. That just
Oh,
such a white effect, though. I hate it so much. Like, oh, you can't play cards.
Yeah,
White.
So
Is
it's
that total lockdown? Yeah, I've got a whole deck of that with me right here.
and it's specifically your opponents. In other words, it doesn't even affect you for 2 mana.
That's good.
Oh God, I didn't realize that. That makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Okay, now here's quick. So before I forget, so with this companion rule, then you pay the 3, you draw it, put it in your hand, so that now it's susceptible to being discarded, wheeled, anything like that. And I assume once you draw something from the companion zone, can it ever go back? I think it goes into your graveyard after that. Like it sits in in companion. It's like a one-time deal. And then once you draw it from companion, it's now like in the game, air bunnies, and then graveyard, shuffle, whatever. Like I assume it can get shuffled into your library, anything like that too.
Now, yeah, but I mean, first, it definitely could get shuffled in, and it's the 101st card. But I want to just take us back to Air Bunnies. Is that a sequel to Air Bud at all?
No.
Oh.
I'm quoting Ms. Sofia Vergara from Modern Family using the Air Bunnies. It was amazing. I'm like, that is so much better than quotation. I'm like, I'm never saying air quotes ever again.
Hashtag Air Bunnies.
Right? Oh yeah, totally. Oh man.
But could it be the sequel to Air Bud? I mean, get a little ping pong action instead.
The trailer, somebody's like walking down the street. Oh, do you see this? Ah! And then wham! A buddy just smokes him in the face.
Is table tennis just regular tennis to bunnies?
That's a good point.
No, it's
I
still huge because the paddle is massive compared to a bunny, right?
Yeah,
it's still tennis for giants. So
that's true. You'd have to get them like old trick like signature paddles or something.
Yeah, like little cute ones.
But like, how would they hold them though?
So tennis is tennis for giants,
right?
Tennis.
Little like Velcro
tennis
arm
is tennis
strap.
for everyone,
but it
man.
can pull the fur.
Yeah.
So that would mean that table tennis is table tennis for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bunnies would need special, like a prosthesis or something that extends their paw, and then they don't have that.
That's fair. Just like
you don't really use your wrist anyway in tennis.
Oh yeah, of course.
Really? I don't. Well, I was terrible at tennis. I don't know.
You really think that he's telling the truth on
table
that?
tennis.
You don't use your wrist in tennis? That's the most ridiculous thing ever.
Only if you want
true.
finesse.
You're supposed to keep your wrist pretty stable when you're swinging.
Well, you don't even use your legs when you play tennis either, right? Like it's.
Hey, I like sports with contact. All right,
Hey,
whatever. You can't hit somebody.
Tennis lessons.
Racket
you
to
don't
ball
use
contact.
your wrist at all.
When is the last time you used your spleen in a Magic game?
I put my spleen on the line every time I come out, man. You know what I mean?
I'm a spleen machine, baby.
He's all in. Oh, how the hell did we get here?
I had all my organs converted to spleens, actually.
Oh yeah,
how's that working out for you? Yeah,
That's good. It's improved my Magic game a lot, but I'm in a lot of pain.
But I'm dying. I am dead. Goodbye.
This is my second podcast episode and my final. I'm sorry.
Do you just like only play Wither so you can relate? Like really get all your creatures.
Yeah, my deck is Persist, Wither.
It'd be perfect. Well, but that perfectly lines up with Colin's white deck mechanic idea from last week on having the -1, -1. It worked. It was there. I don't know. I'm throwing it on the table. Unless do we have anything else about Companion, or are we just going to jump into it now?
Companion.
Because I'm out on Companion.
Yeah.
I'm willing to give it a chance. I still think that I like Companions better as commanders. And for the most part in the 99, just so I can get around their restrictions. Probably my favorite example, I talked about it last week, was Obosh. I would rather have access to 2, 4, 6 drops and, 0 cost stuff, which is awesome, to help improve my board state and move towards casting those spells that are dealing a ton of damage. And that would require me to not have it as a companion. I would rather have that.
Yeah.
And have a good
him as a commander, he's ridiculous. Yep.
But to be fair, I don't actually know a lot about the companions because they don't really appeal to me. It doesn't really appeal to me as a mechanic that I want to use.
Yeah, because like
kind of thing.
My only thought with that, the 101st card, like I don't know about you guys, but man, narrowing the deck list down, like cutting those last like 10 cards to get it to the 100 with the commander, like it always kills me. It's super hard for me to do. So a part of me is like 101st would be like, yes, I've got more space. But yeah, like any of the companion cards, you
know what though?
Not overly
the
thrilled
limitations that they usually put on the cards might actually help you decide because you're going to be like struggling to be like, I need odd cards. Like,
yeah, odd, even, exactly. Yeah.
So maybe those are for you.
I'm interested in the next round of companions that they one day do, however long that takes, if they even revisit it. Yeah. But I think it's worth revisiting and doing it with the new design in mind and seeing what comes out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they'll definitely approach it differently if they do. It's an if at this point, but I agree.
Yeah, I like that they didn't just give up on it. You know, like I think I had the impression that because they made them all legendary, that they were just going to, it was kind of their backup. They were like, oh, if it doesn't work out, at least they're legendary and they can be commanders. They've got cool abilities anyway. But it's nice that they're trying to make the mechanic viable and not too overly, what's the word I'm looking for? Competitive. Like you need to have this in a deck. And I will say my final thought on Companion. Obviously, in the next set they release with Companions, we're going to see a Dalmatian Companion.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Because of 101 Dalmatians.
I mean,
101 cards.
In a general sense, I never want.
No, I'll give you that. That's nice. That's funny.
Yeah.
I thought you were going back to Airbud. I'm like, hey,
No.
golden retriever.
We're all over the place, man. Golden receivers, air bunnies,
Air Bunnies. It's just dags. Whatever.
101 companions.
Oh, you like dogs?
I like dogs a lot. I really like
yeah.
pets.
I like dags.
Yeah, like dags.
Snatch. So amazing. Oh,
That's a reference.
I never
Right?
want to see Wizards try and like make a mechanic for Standard to compete with another one of their formats. Because that's sort of what I felt like it was. Like it was trying to make Standard compete with Commander. And I just don't want to see that kind of thing happen. Stepping on another format's shoes doesn't really go so well for the game.
I mean, I'm never going to play any
you
other
leave those
format.
formats
so-
alone.
to
The
me,
big bullies.
I just don't have any interest in any other formats. Commander gives me what I need, the freedom to be as creative as I want. So for me, it doesn't matter, and that's maybe why those companions don't interest me, because they limit my deck so much. But they do make you be creative as well, but in another way, the way that I'm not that interested in.
yeah. Yeah. Well, then with that, quick, Spencer, what did you think about Pioneer then, when they came out with Pioneer?
I think Pioneer makes a lot of sense when you consider that fetch lands are as expensive as they are and as inaccessible as they are.
Yeah,
And so
which is
format
basically
warping.
why they made it.
Yeah, I think it's really the format warping thing, because you could reprint them and have access, but it's still format warping. So I kind of have, even though I have modern decks, I would kind of rather see Pioneer survive, but I just don't think it will. It's already having issues. And it kind of feels bad that Modern's in the state it is. They just need, if they reprinted fetch lands, maybe we'd get it out of that state. But yeah,
All right,
that's
fair enough.
yeah,
I
that's the
was
aside.
curious, I kind of touched on it, so.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so issues with playing mono white. Do you want to start getting into those?
Oh man, I wanted to do this for a long time. Talk about this.
Here he goes.
Now,
Drum roll.
Okay. I don't know what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it. All right. And you're all going to listen. Okay.
What?
And you're going to like it.
You're going to like it. Okay.
Listen here, viewers.
White has
go ahead.
issues. Okay. And card draw is a major one. I think we can all agree. So I think the biggest solution, if you're really looking, is you got to go to the artifacts, man. That's where you got to go. You
Yeah.
got to get into the jank. They're not that good.
Yeah, nice.
But they're better than pretty much many of your options with white. So if we're going to talk about it, fixing white, we got to get into the jank. We got to get into the deep, dark descents of Magic's history. That's where we got to go.
Enter the jank mines.
Oh, man.
So hold on. I think we skipped a step, though. Why do they have
skipped
to
a
go to
step.
artifacts?
Well, they
Or
just...
did we talk about that?
Well, I think that they've always sort of missed white when it comes to, like, every time there's a set, and you listen to Command Zone and they talk about like the set and which color did the best, and it's always white getting the short end of the stick. Like maybe the last time that they got like something that was like game changing was Smothering Tithe or something,
Yeah, which is insane.
and that's
that's
all
not-
great, but it's
Not to
card
deny White's power in other formats,
Yeah.
but within Commander, it has issues.
Mm-hmm.
draw. It does, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
got a deck here I'm going through.
it'd be interesting to see. I feel like the way to kind of really look at this stuff is to, we get some statistics in here, but that we can't do that, or we're not gonna. So today I think we just have to talk about, what are the kind of issues that come up in the EDH community, and the issues that we see with certain cards, and then the cards that are available in the white white color identity pool for EDH, and then how we can, how they've been working on that, and how our fun thing of like how we might change it, which is pretty awesome. So I was reading an interesting thing on, I can't really remember who it was by, unfortunately, which is bad. But this was an article, and it was kind of going over the top EDH rec mono white commanders, and looking at what they want to do and why that's an issue. So this person said that there's a lot of combat based effects in mono white. So you either need to go tall or go wide. It doesn't matter which one you're doing. You're somehow helping with combat, and people can see that during their threat assessment very easily, and really hone in on you and just take you out of there, right? Because you're playing a monocolored deck. I don't know, like I try to play mono red, and I feel like I don't succeed that well. Or you always feel like you're kind of short something. In the case of mono red, I always feel that I'm short on the ability to remove enchantments, and to interact in ways that aren't just like damaging things. Otherwise, it's a very powerful color, right? So every color has its shortcomings.
Every color does have limitations.
And so this... Go ahead.
Oh, those limitations will, in Commander, shine differently. Hey, Casual Jake, welcome. Glad you're hanging out.
Hi, nice.
Casual
What's up, man?
Jake, what up?
He's just hanging out casually.
Nice.
Chilling.
It's pretty chill.
Yeah. You know what? I like the limitations of the colors a lot. I think that they're important. But in Commander, I guess, the differences in some of the colors is pretty astonishing. But to be honest,
gives them
I don't like
identity.
blue that much. Like mono blue to me, I don't think is as strong as people think. Because they're like, okay,
correct.
probably the
Spencer's
best
down.
card draw, and they've got counter magic. But
Control.
like
pure control.
Yeah,
Bounce,
but-
steal.
and then how are they winning? They're winning probably with like comboing out or something like that. For me,
or tempoing the field. It's hard to tempo multiple players in Commander, but you can. And when you do it successfully, damn. I think the most effective way to do that is actually control and permanent steal, like Lucas was just mentioning. That's why I love my Kaiga deck. I'm still cheesed that Colin got off the right of replication on my Kaiga. I had it in hand, and that's exactly the kind of trick that mono blue does.
My Kaiga.
Okay, I know we're supposed to be talking about mono white right now, but man, right of replication, I have never seen a bad right of replication be cast in my history of playing Magic. Which, I mean, isn't super long, but it's pretty long.
I was thinking about all the different, because, I posted today on Instagram that clip, and I was thinking of all the different ones you could do, but just like anything, like, why do I always forget? Butcher of Malakir, like you do 5 copies of Butcher of Malakir. I mean, anything like that would be hilarious, right?
Oh, man.
So Casual Jake says, I find that limitations can bring about really creative solutions, and I totally agree. And that's actually why I like the limitations of colors. It's just the limitations in Commander. It's clear that card draw and ramping are definitely more, and fetch are definitely more powerful because it's a singleton format, which is why you see... or tutors, fetch tutor, depends what you want to reference. That's why green, black, and blue all do so well, is because you have the draw, you have the tutoring, you have the fetch, and you're ramping hard.
Yeah.
Red and white both get dropped out. Red kind of is starting to make up for it these days. They've been printing a lot of cards that can kind of start picking up that slack. I still think there's room to grow. White definitely has room to grow.
White definitely is weak.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like it's you got to be able to even the playing field a bit in that sense. Like, have a couple cards to be able to do this stuff.
Just-
you know,
Yeah,
Like
one
it.
a set. Like a card enters the field, draw a card, and there is that, right? There's Mentor of the Meek, which is awesome.
Yep.
Right?
Yep, I got them right here.
I think it's 1 or less power, and you draw a card, like off a creature into the field.
Power 2 or less.
Okay, so
But it's also under your
have to
control.
under your control,
So
obviously.
it's not everybody's under your control, and you pay 1.
Okay,
right?
and you pay 1.
So yeah. So was this gonna work?
Yeah.
Kind
Oh,
of.
yeah.
Yeah. Right. So for like a weenie deck, yeah, totally. That's why I've got him in this one in this cat tribal.
super dope.
Right.
But
Really good.
I mean, is there any reason they can't print another type of that? Maybe it's harder to get out, and you don't pay anything to trigger. Or
Well, there was a
There's
similar one, Inspiring Commander, and they banned him.
no, because isn't
He's
that
banned in Commander.
isn't that a card only in Magic Online, like Arena?
What?
There is a card for white that has the same ability. You trigger if a creature with 2 or less power enters the battlefield, you draw a card, but it's only an MTGA. It's not a real card, and I think it's Inspiring Commander, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that is Inspiring Commander. It's not a real card. It's only in Arena.
That just pissed me off so much when I found that out. I was like, man, this is a great card. I'm gonna make a white deck.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
he's not even
'Cause that's what I
real.
remember when I found it, and then I looked at it, it said banned right away. So that's why I was like, oh, well, whatever.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now they're making cards that are solely on MTGA,
Right?
and they're
There aren't
cards that I
many.
can't
So
get
good.
a paper copy.
No, they don't exist.
Yeah.
What?
That's so stupid. Yeah. I hate
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
They
Oh.
did add that Saga. So it was Eldraine. They introduced a 2-to-cast white Saga that does hand fetch. So you get a basic land planes to your hand, and then it has the 2 abilities the next 2 turns. But that's not why it's there. It's really there to smooth out your ramp. And maybe that's an area that we could see it shine. Sure, we don't want to fetch right onto the field because that's stepping on green's shoes. But maybe what we can do is have an ability that it checks it, kind of like Explorer Scope. It looks at the top card of your library. If it's a plains or if it's a basic land, you put it into your hand, thus fixing your draw for the next turn and giving you the ability to always stay smoothly mana ramped.
Yeah.
So this is a Saga?
Yeah, there's a Saga that does this, but I feel like that mechanic could be used to greater benefit, and rather than a fetch, if it's just a check the top card of your library kind of thing, because then it's inconsistent in terms of its effectiveness. But if it's on enough cards in a set, then it becomes consistent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like on a
Didn't they-
Saga alone, I'm not rushing to use it.
Didn't
That's
they
not
just
overly
print
beneficial.
a white card that lets you do that, Spencer? In
Did I what?
Ikoria or in Commander? Didn't they just print a white card that lets you kind of check, and then you can, if you're behind on lands, you can do something with it?
I
Put
don't
it
know
into the battlefield or into
if
your
they
hand?
did. That would be awesome. I do want to shout out though to Olive in the Sky for joining the chat here. It's good to see you, as
Nice,
well
what's
as Hype. What's up? Welcome.
Ah.
and
Yo.
I hope you're all doing well.
Woohoo.
Yeah, so I've got a card kind of like that here, John, Orexos Explorer. It's a 2-to-cast 2/2 Cat Scout. When it ETBs, search your library for up to X planes cards, where X is the number of players who control more lands than you. Reveal
Oh,
those
nice.
cards, put them into your hand, and shuffle your library. So 2-drop, also that helps with the turn order, because let's say we're playing 4-player and you're last, you're already at that disadvantage. But turn 2, or turn 3, I guess, if everybody's already played their 3rd land, you pay 2, drop this guy, you're going to get 3 plains cards into your hand and then play your 3rd land for the turn. So then you've got your land, you're even, you got a couple more to go, but still, that's not ramp that ensures that I have lands to play in the next turns, but I am not actually ahead or speeding up really at all by doing that.
But that's
Right?
I think that's fine. I don't think that white should ramp, because if the other colors aren't ramping, only green really, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Okay, how about this?
I think
Olive in the
that's fair.
Sky. Olive in the Sky pitched an unset card where you search your library for a plains card and hold it halfway between the battlefield and your hand.
That's good.
Shuffle the other 7, and your other's just kind of like here, like in limbo.
So yeah, no, you pay
Like,
you
how do I
pay
untap?
pay 3, and then you can grab a planes and you can use it in the next game on the field. So like not this game, but next game. Just got to remember.
You put it halfway under your playmat, so you can see it there, but you can't actually use it.
You're allowed to talk about it, but other than that, you can't use it.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
You can move it like a quarter of an inch each time you mention how much you wish you had it in your hand. You can just like move it a little bit on each of your turns at sorcery speed. You can just go, oh man, I really wish I had another planes in my hand. You can move it like a quarter inch towards you.
Damn it! Oh man. Well,
so the one I was talking about that just came out is Verge Rangers. It's a 3 to cast 3/3. It's from Commander 2020. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. As long as an opponent controls more lands than you, you may play lands from the top of your library.
Love it.
Oh,
So that is mono white.
cool. Oh, I have one. Sweet.
You should get one.
I have one.
I
that's
think.
going to go up like crazy.
Yeah. So
Sweet.
that's a good way to, again, I think, yeah, it's kind of goes along with, I think that's a thing that white is trying to do, and maybe they're looking into doing a little bit more, is having white is looking to catch up on those land drops, and just to make sure you are making, I shouldn't do that. Can you hear me now? No, just to make sure that you're making those land drops on each turn. And that's the way that white will ramp. I think that's pretty good. You don't want to, obviously you don't want to oversaturate it, and we don't want the colors to be the same at all. But it's a thing that a lot of people talk about is pumping up that white, the power of that white identity, making sure it's just kind of more competitive in Magic the Gathering in EDH.
To Olive's point, we can also still ramp, of course, with artifacts like Solemn Simulacrum, Mana Rocks.
Sword of the Animist is like my bay right now. Every time I see Sword of the Animist played, I'm just like, okay, this card is so good. Everyone should play Sword of the Animist if you feel like you're missing out on some ramp in whatever color.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's insane. But that was what Colin was saying right off the bat. It's like, hey, you're playing mono white, you need ramp, go to artifacts.
You got to get
it's like,
creative.
hey, you need this. It's not going to be in the color you're playing.
Yeah, you're probably going to be attacking. Yeah.
And
Right?
and you know what? There is land tax. I mean, that's probably one of the greatest land fetch cards.
Oh,
time.
yeah. Well, what are those right now? Like $40?
That's the thing. I mean, I'm never
Like-
going to play it, but yeah, it's there.
Right?
I don't know. There's some funny white cards.
I think I have one coming.
Like if you look around, there's
Didn't you
just
get
some.
one like in Italian or something?
No, that
Sorry,
was a
Colin.
different.
Okay.
That was a different card, but I did get a
Okay.
land tax, and it's gonna show up one day.
one
bugger.
day. Oh man.
Hey, sorry, Colin, you were saying.
I was just
Yeah, sorry,
so
bud.
I'm looking at some of the white card draw and or enchantment, because I figure if we need card draw, we'll have to go to enchantment. So one of
We're
the
going to
white
card
card
draw now?
draw that I found, and there's such weird cards. Okay, this is called Truce. It's a 3 to cast instant. It says each player may draw up to 2 cards. For each card less than 2 any player draws, that player gains 2 life. So in white, it's pay 3, draw 2, and the rest of the table draws as well. You know, there you
It's
go.
funny.
That is not that good.
Right? It's like, you see that mono white players will let you draw.
See? White card
You see,
draw.
look.
How about
You
this?
want to draw a card in mono white, chop off your pinky finger, mail it to Wizards of the Coast.
Would you like to
Right?
return a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield with a creature on white? You go Pulse Mage Advocate for 3. It's a cleric creature. You tap it. Return 3 target creatures in an opponent's graveyard to his or her hand. Return target creature from your graveyard to play.
Oh my
I would
That actually
point
might
out-
be dope, though. I'd be honest.
I
with
would
you.
point out though, mono white does have a long history of bringing stuff back from the grave
it
to
does.
the battlefield.
It does. It does.
It
But
does
I,
touch
I
on
think
that.
a lot of
Breath
it's
of life,
a
man.
lot of it's that turn, like permanents from this turn that we're putting in the graveyard. Boom. This is just like a hilarious thing that you could do. But I'm sure if you bring back the right creature, and white has some insanely powerful creatures, you could control the entire game. You know.
Yeah, I think that's what I was going to touch on next. Is right. We don't have a lot in the way of, card draw for card advantage, but there are other ways to get card advantage, right? So the graveyard is a big one, and white is able to get cards back from the graveyard. That being said, it's weaker than black, because black is able to also populate the graveyard more easily than white is to return those cards.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
And so I
black
think
wants stuff in the
that's where you
graveyard half
hit the
time.
limitation.
I think white's like the garbage pail kids of the colors. Like it's I don't know if that's the right reference. It's kind of like we're patching it together with pieces from the garbage. Well, here's a good one, Mask of Memory. That's fantastic.
Well, I think
that's great card
part-
draw. You got to
part of the problem is the mechanical tools that white has tend to lean towards very prison-oriented play. So you're locking down the game, and that's not fun, and nobody wants to do that, which is also why one of the best ways that white recovers is by being the great equalizer. It just board wipes. And people don't want to just, board wipe literally every turn to keep up with their friends. And it's not fun for anyone at the table. Maybe it's okay for the person who's board wiping, but that's very one-sided. Nobody wants to be that person. EDH is casual, so...
Don't we do it constantly now?
That's what I just love. Nobody wants to be that person. I'm like, Spencer, you play more board wipes than anybody I've ever met.
Used to, and mostly bounces.
Board wipe tribal.
That's true. That's true. Progress, you're changing. But still, that was really funny for me. Really funny. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
I think
Yeah,
the only area we see mono white really do well for as far as card draw is, or probably the most known one is like equipment and auras with SRAM, right? There are other ways to draw cards with those equipments and auras, but obviously SRAM becomes a very good commander there because they'll draw you some extra cards as well.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's kind of where people go right now if they're building a mono white deck. Whereas with a lot of other colors, you don't really have to go there if you want to make a monocolor deck, which is maybe the issue that people have with it.
Yep.
I'm no expert, but
in reference to something casual Jake said just a bit earlier, part of the issue is we don't want to blur the color pie. There are mechanics from every color in the color pie, and we want to respect that some of those mechanics should stay where they are, even though there already is some blurring just from Magic history.
Yeah, which I get, but still, like, when white is such, like, it's so behind in these areas, like, then you gotta blur to bring it up a bit, man. Like, because then if all the other ones have that power, then it either was blurred or they were provided with those cards to be able to do it.
I think that's why I like our ideas, though, that don't blur. Like, if we instead lift off the top the land, or if we have...
that card sounds cool.
Colin's idea for a mechanic to keep things coming back from the graveyard. Like, stuff like that can keep consistency in the color or help them stay on curve without running into... I was using the word ramp before, like curve, but that doesn't matter. It would help white be able to keep up with the other colors in mono decks.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And just, like, solving these problems, just giving us a bit more to work with, like, that's all we're asking for. Just a couple, because I mean, like honestly, let's get real here. Okay, Smothering Tithe is insane. This card is so good. Like, after I saw this come out, I'm like, okay, so, like, I need to ask myself, why am I not going to put this in every deck I have that has white in it? Like, actually. It's ridiculous. I think
that's
good.
problematic when you have cards like Smothering Tithes and Heuristic Studies and stuff like that, where you're just like, well, it just goes in the deck now.
Yeah, then it becomes like the polar opposite. It's like, give us something. And they're like, cool, we'll give you the best thing ever.
It needs to have kind of its situation that it goes in, which is why I think it's so cool. I mean, we keep coming back to it. I think the land tax, Knight of the White Orchid that kind of stuff, like just keeping up and making your land drops, which is really important in Commander. We've all been sitting there not making our land drops, even though we ramped, for the first turn. So we had like 3 turns we dropped lands, we ramped a bit, and now we're stuck at like 4 lands or 4 mana production per turn, and we're like, well, we're out of the game now. Making those land drops with using a card that's very low on the curve is actually very powerful. You're not going to be as explosive and get ahead, but that's very much within the white card identity, right? To be able to do that ability, and I think that's a good space for them to kind of stick to, and it seems like they're very cognizant of that and willing to explore that area, but keep it as keep it in keeping with the color identity for sure.
So on that note, later this year there's a set coming called Commander Legends, where it's an actual direct injection of new cards into the Commander format.
Ooh, very exciting.
What do you guys think about how White might be shaping up in that scenario? I'm wondering if we're going to be back here in like 10 months talking about, man, White is too powerful. What did they do? They let this get out of control.
The whole thing. This card
They listen to us too much.
Ramp. I'm going to predict something here and call me crazy, but they are not going to do anything for White. They're going to do very little. It's going to be like, oh, okay, gain life and again. Oh, lifelink.
Give another creature first strike or double strike.
Yeah, it's going to be like, oh, give a creature.
Yeah,
Do double strike.
Yeah.
I side with him on that. I'll
think
side with
that's
him on
for
that.
sure.
Yeah, I'm expecting
Maybe
little to none.
like one card that's going to be, wow, you have to put that in the White deck. You gotta.
Can you imagine if they give us like the Smothering Tithe of card draw for White? Like they put that out and it'd just be some ridiculous card draw card.
Even if there was a card like you put on the field, you pay 2 to draw a card once a turn, or once every, on sorcery speed, once a turn. Even that would be good in White, I have a feeling. You know what I mean? If it was like a 2 to cast artifact, and then you just like tap it and pay 2, draw a card once per turn.
That's an artifact.
That's an artifact, Colin.
Well, if it was
a
white
artifact
or an enchantment, I mean, I don't know, whatever. Anything. I mean, that would be good in
Didn't
White.
we go over this?
It
at
could be a
game
white
once?
artifact.
Could be a white
How
artifact.
many times do I have to tell you?
I found one. It's a 1 to
Elspeth's
cast
Citadel.
enchantment called Inheritance. Again, it's super weird. It's whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay 3. If you do, draw a card. That is a white enchantment. That's like the best one I've found, basically. I swear to God.
And you're paying 3 for 1, and you already had to have spent mana on a creature, so you need to have a lot of mana.
Any
to be able to do
creature,
this.
so from the whole field. So that's actually interesting.
Ooh. Oh, that
It's
changes
very
things.
expensive though for a non-ramp color. But
Wait,
that's
which card is this?
Inheritance?
Inheritance.
Nice and old.
Nice.
But do you feel like that is in keeping with the current state of white color identity in EDH? Like if they printed a card that was similar to that, I don't feel like that would be appropriate at this day and age. It would just that is very much a, to me that's a very much a
Like a cop out.
black color identity effect.
Yeah.
Right, a creature dies, you can have the option to you have a triggered ability, and then you can bloop.
I mean, it is a white card, but I get what you mean. Yeah, interacting with the graveyard in that sense.
Maybe the reverse when a creature enters the battlefield. I guess that's green. Green is all about like drawing off you playing creatures.
Whenever you gain life, I'm sure that there is that already, but
White already has that with enchantments, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest as my kind of ability that I'd like to see more of would be kind of that, and we touched on it earlier. We touched on Mentor of the Meek. I like that ability. You have to pay mana. It has to meet certain criteria that's very much in keeping with the go wide strategy that White has, and then you get to draw a card, and I think that's fair. And it's pretty limiting. I don't know if that would make the color more powerful, but I think that's a good effect, and maybe they could explore something with that.
It's versatile, at least in mono white decks. I mean, if that's what they generally do. That's why Winota is so cool, because really that's what Boros wants to do, is just smash people with giant armies. And Winota is just very efficient in making armies. So it's Boros as heck. It's just super, super good.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, what if in white they did a Mentor of the Meek effect, and it was you pay 1 generic mana less than the CMC of the thing you cast? So, for example, maybe that's too good. Maybe if you if you cast something that costs 1, you would have to pay 0 to draw a card. If you cast something with a CMC of 5, you would have to pay 4 to draw a card.
That would be so badass. Oh, I love that so much.
That's kind of cool. Yeah,
So
I can hear that
if you
going insane.
If you choose to play more powerful creatures in mono white, then I don't know, maybe this is crazy. If you choose to play those more powerful creatures in mono white, you could still draw a card, but you have to pay more.
Ooh, that sounds like Saram, though, doesn't it? Like, I play a card, draw. I play a 0 cast artifact, draw. Isn't that kind of Saram in a lot of ways?
I'm gonna do what I do, and I'm gonna play
but
Nickel's
he gets it
Advocate
better.
one more time.
Okay.
What if what
Nice.
if we don't? What if white doesn't need new mechanics, and what if all it needs is good curve staples? Maybe that's the issue, because other colors have staples that fix their curve, and white has a few of those, but most of them are really old cards that are really expensive. There's a few new ones that are limited printing, so really expensive. Like how many people have land tax? How many people have smothering tithes? Maybe that's the issue. Maybe they just need cards that are in bulk printings. Yep. And there needs to be enough of them to be curve fixing staples for white.
Okay, that's actually interesting, I guess. Or just print super
that would
powerful creatures. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. I think we're kind of saying like a very similar thing, like needing more ramp as opposed to mana curve fix. I mean, they're like two sides of the same coin, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think
the difference is ramp is to, that's why I was conflating the words earlier. Ramp is when you get the more lands on the field beyond your curve. So you're further along, you're further up the curve. Fixing your curve is just making sure that you're getting every land drop and that you're getting every card draw consistently.
Yeah, and maybe that's what they were going for with this with this card Verge Rangers, and then they have the other one, the bird from, is it from
I think it's
the
2020.
bird I'm talking about?
Yeah, Commander 2020
as well. Yeah, so there's that one. The Verge Rangers is on 5 mana. The bird thing is on 3 mana. Jeez, I'm sorry, audience. I don't have the names for any cards.
It's like Cartographer's
Cartographer's Hawk.
Hawk bird.
Cartographer's Hawk. Yeah. Okay, so that one's 2 to cast. Anyway, still kind of fills in those gaps maybe a little bit. You got to jump through a lot of hoops for it. Definitely more than land tax.
Yes.
But it's a step towards what Spencer was talking about. So
You know what they should
it could be
do?
pretty cool.
They should print more cards like Sarah's Avatar. Not Sarah Avatar. The one, Lucas, that you use where it's 1 to cast, and if you have more than 30 life, it's like +5/+5.
Oh, Sarah's Ascendant?
Yeah, just more of that. Just
The
print that.
best 1-drop in Commander. I'll pay 1 for a 6/6
Just
flying
make
lifelink.
white annoying as hell like that.
I
Yeah,
love white already is annoying as hell. And
Yeah.
I play a bunch of those
Just
cards.
make it more annoying, you know? Maybe that's the solution.
Not worth
Just
the card
lean
slot.
into it.
It's not worth it, man.
No, it's
Don't
stupid.
play that card.
What?
Well,
Sarah's
Every
Ascendant?
once in a while, it's good when you get it early game. And if you get it late game, you're just like, oh, well, this sucks.
My issue with
Hasn't
Verge
been my
Rangers,
experience.
Yeah, my issue with Verge Rangers and Cartographer's Hawk is that they're both rares, and if you look at the hit price history of Cartographer's Hawk, it started at $10, dropped, went up to $8, and then dropped again. Now it's at about $2.68, so that's reasonable, and that's American prices. And Verge Rangers is currently close to $5. That's less reasonable. So when it comes to people trying to build budget decks, there really isn't a lot of options with white. And it would be nice for there to be a common option or an uncommon option.
It would be very helpful.
Yeah, that's right. You have to
Agreed.
consider the rarity as
Right.
well, of course.
Yeah, that's a good
More
point.
Difficult.
Yep. So I got a couple other ones here. I pulled out a little stack from my mono white deck. I mean, one that we haven't mentioned yet. I mean, another arguably one of the best white card draw cards, Dawn of Hope. Right? 2 to cast enchantment. Whenever you gain life, you can pay 2, and if you do, draw a card.
That's what I was thinking. Yes,
Right?
Dawn of Hope.
That card is insane.
Oh
And
yeah,
back
how could I
with-
forget that one? I love
right?
that card.
So that was one we gotta mention. And
Yeah.
also too, back with earlier what you were talking about, John, with as long as you're just making sure you're having your land drops every turn, so you may not be ramping quite as fast as everybody else. White does have a lot of life gain. So if you're gaining life in a way you can afford to not be, maybe this is a mechanic maybe they did this on purpose, but that's something I've thought about for my decks when I play white is I can gain life so I can afford, I can buy myself more time by gaining some life if I take a couple hits to then be catching up to people land wise and then start dishing out that damage a bit later. And then especially if I'm doing it with lifelink, I'm gaining life and drawing at the same time, which is crazy powerful when you put those two together. So that's a big one I wanted to shout out. And just think about that as these 2 or 3 different kind of mechanics. When those work together, you really got something going.
Gaining life and drawing cards is like the kicking ass and taking names of the mono white EDH world.
Right. Once you're
Yeah.
in the motion, you're like, I'm gaining life. I'm drawing a card. Putting a card. It
Gaining
just
life.
feels
Yeah,
so good.
yeah.
Gaining
It's
life
kinda-
and drawing cards, and gaining life and drawing cards.
See.
And...
Mono white.
I tried, but I dropped it. Sorry.
Lucas is picking it up. He's like, I got it next. I'm gonna pick it up, and then he just drops it.
Smash! Yeah, that'd be me. So that was one that I wanted to give a shout out. That's one of my favorites. We already talked about Mentor of the Meek. This is another cool one. It also does a bit of that classic white lockdown that we were talking about earlier. Alms Collector. It's a 4 to cast cat cleric. It has flash. And if an opponent would draw 2 or more cards, instead you draw and that player and you each draw a card.
Yeah, I love that. That's
So
good stuff.
anybody who's drawing a ton, you shut them down, and then anything beyond a second card, you're going to draw another one, and they're capped. So,
Yeah. I
right?
wonder if the
So
trick is just to that brings up the other side of it, right? Like Smothering Tithe is also very good because if people are drawing a ton of cards, you're just getting a ton of mana. So, if they're drawing a ton of cards and you just draw a card with them and they don't get that card advantage, that's another
Yeah.
very beneficial thing to you.
or have the two of
yeah,
them.
totally.
You
I
drew
like that.
and you got a mana.
Yeah.
So you're drawing at pace with them and building your mana out of it.
That's
so,
the dream, baby.
That is the
Yeah.
absolute
So
dream.
that's another awesome card.
So this is interesting that we've actually named a number of cards just this year that have had an effect on White's curve. So perhaps they are fixing it over time, and maybe people in Commander haven't fully noticed it yet.
That is
Maybe it
getting
hasn't
more
taken
powerful.
shape.
Well, yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, in a singleton format, right? It's hard to. You can't just be like dump
Yeah.
a bunch of
Of course.
amazing white cards. It's like this set is going to be all white cards, and they're going to fix Commander. No, you can't do that. You have to do it over time. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, you do have to spend time seeing how they affect the game and adjust accordingly.
Plus, white
mean-
is also is a strong color in other formats, right? I mean, isn't white 60 card super powerful? Right?
Yeah, it can be quite a good mix of control and
they have to-
and aggressive.
because it's
strategies.
already balanced, I guess, more or less in the older
Yeah.
formats. So when you add new cards, you got to be careful of the old formats too. I understand.
Hey there, Toby.
Oh, what up,
Hey,
Toby?
Toby.
Toby's hanging out. What's up, man?
Yeah.
So there's another white card I found that I play I wanted to share. I also think is pretty good. Johnny's Influence. So it costs 4. It's a sorcery. 2 colorless and 2 white. Put 2 1/1 counters on target creature. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a white card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order.
That's cool.
So it is like, it's like, okay, yes, it costs 4, so that's a little costly, but you're giving +2/+2 like permanently to a creature, so you're beefing somebody up a little bit. And then also, instead of just drawing a top, you get to look at your top 5 and then pick one of those to draw. So not tutor, but a little bit of kind of like a scry-ish draw situation, which is pretty powerful as well. So I think that's another pretty good one too. But still, it's 1 card and you're only drawing 1 out of it. So it's replacing itself.
And
that's basically it. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. But same, like these are some of the best that I found that I play.
Yeah. There are a few scry options as well, but I feel like scry is never quite a draw. Like that.
I would say that scry is never a draw.
Never.
Yeah. It's like it's like a third of a draw, potentially.
Like a quarter. It's helpful though, isn't it?
Gives you a good tip.
2/5.
Sometimes a scry is better than a draw because no, it isn't, because I was saying because you scry off the card that you desperately don't need and then draw the one you really want.
But you just draw.
I
them.
love
just draw
scrying
both.
Just draw both.
personally.
Just draw both. Yeah.
Why do you have that card in your deck? Just put a different card in, so next time
go
you
land, or
you're
something.
happier.
I don't know.
Think we're around an hour here. I do want to list off some of the cards we've named because there's some really good things to pick up here if anyone's looking to get their white monocolored decks into like a better shape.
Yeah, Spencer, can I just quickly just touch on one more mechanic and then we'll do them all at the end? Because last with it, and I think Colin had touched on it earlier, was tutoring. Right? I mean, also in white, you've got the 2 classic tutors, right? Enlightened tutor and idyllic tutor. And as we know, like drawing is great, but tutoring is better. Right? Instead of I'm drawing, hoping for a solution, it's like, I'm just going to go find it right now. La, 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 la. Right? But so still, both of these, so this idyllic tutor is one that does put it in your hand, right? So that costs 3, but same, it's really specified. This is an enchantment only. You can tutor only for an enchantment and draw it. Versus in black, you pay 1 more and you're looking for anything.
Well, black is the
only your hand.
Black is the only color that will search for anything. Blue will do instants or sorceries. Or artifacts, and
Green creatures.
And green will just do creatures basically exclusively.
Yeah.
Gamble.
Yeah, gamble. There's red. That's true.
Gamble's
does
so
have,
much fun.
Best.
Yeah, love gamble.
Red could
Right,
search for
Lords of
anything.
Chaos.
Yeah, you're just like sweating. You're like, oh god, I hope I keep it. I could win, or I could just
I just
show them what
lose
I
right
had
here.
and they'll kill me.
Have you ever had to gamble when you only had 1 or 2 cards in your hand?
Man. But it's
I've
it
seen
is
some
like
gambles go wrong.
man,
so
it is
funny.
the best when you pull it off, though. Oh my god, those gambles. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
does it work?
Yeah. So that's true. But so there was
Anyway.
that one, and then
Yep.
Enlightened. And now that I don't have one because they're how many dollars? Like 30 or 40 bucks or something. And then same, does that costs 1, and that's also put it on top of your library. So there's no draw advantage, right? You're having to wait to draw it. Anybody has any kind of mill or shuffle your library or something, bye-bye. You know?
This is an instant,
So-
though, isn't it? So you
It's an instant, so you can do it at end of the term. before you
End
start.
of somebody's and then get it right away. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fair. But still, so like a bit, I like the thought of tutoring, playing mono white in that sense. I think that's kind of cool. I don't know.
Maybe a sorcery tutor. I think we talked about this like a year ago. The idea of white sorcery tutor makes a lot of sense because it's sort of a sorcery speed color.
Like to look for a sorcery.
Yeah, just a sorcery.
Now, see, I would love that, but then how many people are going to be tutoring for Wrath of Gods every time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like just for board wipes. Now, like
Or,
They'll
I don't know if I'm against that necessarily.
I think
Dusk
they'll
to
only
dawn.
do that when it's needed, which means I wouldn't be against it. Because like if you have one player who's just really, really piled up with creatures and taking over the game,
Yeah.
and you just need that friend to do that one thing, they're like, I can search for a sorcery. They become the
Yeah.
hero.
Yeah, you know what? Like, obviously we need to see and play for sure, but so far I love the sound of that. I think that would be great.
That'd actually be kind of dope.
That creature, I mean, just search for more. That's all. Anyway, so that was my last. I wanted to bring tutoring into it. So
Can I
There we
say
go.
one more thing?
Hell yeah.
So first of
now.
all, you were talking about putting like what's it called, searching for lands in mono white. It's an artifact, obviously, but it's Mycosynth Wellspring for 2. When it enters the battlefield and goes into the graveyard from play, you may search your library for a basic land, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your library.
Yeah.
That's
That's not a powerful card, though.
No, but in white, I still think that's fantastic. Personally,
I think that's the idea. Is people want something a little better than that.
Oh,
They want
want
something
it.
that's also. They also want something that's exclusively for white.
Yeah.
Because you could run that in anything. I actually run that
Exactly.
in a mono blue deck, and it's because I can
Makes
just
a lot of
infinitely blink
sense.
it.
Yeah,
That was in my Brago artifacts deck.
It's good when you can
like-
abuse it, but in white,
It's
it's
kind-
like
well-
I just need 2 lands.
The other thing is, like, by the time I can actually, I took it out because by the time I can actually like utilize it in a broken way, I already have enough mana to do other better things. So
That's fair.
Yep.
But if
Agreed.
you get that in, that in Tashar, 4 to cast thing that can like bring artifacts back from your graveyard, that's pretty great. And get some. You'll need the help though to sacrifice the artifact.
That's the hard part.
From artifacts, and I think people are looking for that non-artifact type stuff
Yeah.
as well.
So it sucks. Is like you play it and you just like have to disenchant your own artifact just to try to get another land. Like that's desperate. You're scraping.
Yeah. You use Clark Clan Ironworks. I mean, I'm sure there's other stuff, but obviously
You're pretty much just hoping for like some sort of board wipe, and then you're like, you know what? I'm gonna grab a land. So, bully to you.
I don't
sir.
care about my board. All those soldiers, all that tribal, whatever.
Yeah.
I have 15 artifact removal spells. They're all to be used on me.
Just to get that land. It's worth it,
I'm
man.
You thought I was having trouble with mana before. Well, I'm going to use my mana that I have to destroy my own stuff so I can get it back.
And that's it. That's
Mono
white.
white.
This is white. Yeah. There's a bunch of different options, like weird artifacts to draw cards. They're obviously not that great, but when you're desperate, like paying 3 and tapping something to draw a card, I think.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we've discovered at the end of it, which is kind of what we did bring up a bunch of cool cards, and Spencer's going to go over them quick there at the end. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, check out these funky cards, but if not, you're going artifacts.
Yes.
At the end of the day, that's basically it.
That's why I love artifacts. I don't know
So
if you guys
cool.
know this,
Oh.
but I love artifacts.
I do too.
No.
Just
No.
go. You can
What?
put them wherever you want.
I don't like the way you use them so much, but I like them. I like them. I love how they're just so weird, and there's so many. They're just, and you've never heard of like half of them, and you're like,
Yeah, I've been starting to think more about what, like how I often get caught up in what I want to do in Magic. I've been starting to try and consider what my opponents are thinking a bit more. And I get the sense that in our play group, sometimes I play things that are a little bit convoluted and raise a lot of uncertainty, and then people get angry and kill me. I'm like, what? I haven't done anything. I'm like, well, it looks like you might do something. It's scaring me, and so I'm going to kill you. So there's
Hey.
always that to consider.
So it sounded like we may have naturally done it again next week. Do you guys want to start getting into some artifact jank?
more than anything in the world. I have so
Right?
many.
Like,
Artifacts.
Sure.
There could be so many episodes. Okay, we're gonna have to narrow it down, or do we want to? 'Cause,
I've got
let's
mine.
get real.
We'll just find the best artifact jank we can find, and we'll just present it as like a whole Windows PowerPoint presentation.
Find
Okay,
me
I'm not gonna
the
make one,
worst
but-
artifacts.
Find me the worst.
Yes, King Spencer.
man.
the worst
Find me-
artifact.
Find me the worst artifacts.
That actually
All
might
right,
be
bring
hard
them
to do.
before me.
Oh, the best and the worst artifact. Boom.
Ooh,
That's actually
bring your
really good.
best and worst to the table.
Yeah.
I'm down. I like this. All right, let's do it.
Right.
In
Let's do
Commander.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's
How about
not go
instead
like
of best, can we do favorite?
yes, or like the
Yeah.
best you've
Something
never
like
heard
that.
of or something instead of the best actual. It's like sort of
Okay,
fire and
We
Sort
gotta
of
cut it off
everything.
here.
let's
Listen, you guys are
let's
talking-
personalize it. Favorite artifact, least favorite artifact.
okay, but I'm gonna go crazy.
Alright.
I don't want to. I'm not gonna be like, Swiftfoot boots, because everyone likes that. Whatever. Who cares?
You want a Swiftfoot boot?
Swiftfoot.
Yeah. It's like a guy in an alley with his.
What are you buying?
Got some knockoff lightning greaves here.
Walking down an alleyway at night, and you hear. And then you just a guy behind you with a trench coat. He's like, "You want some Swiftfoot boots?"
Can we talk about?
You don't even need a trench coat to show me your boots. He's like,
Shut up.
Yeah, but I got more.
Dude, what about blightning or blight steel? What the Swiftfoot? Oh my god,
Lightning is a spell, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, forget about
Blight
it. Forget
steel.
about it.
Oh,
yeah,
Blight Steel
let's
boots.
next week. We're next week in
Dark
this.
Steel boots.
Spencer, take us through our list of cards.
Yeah,
let's wrap the
let's
sucker
do it.
off. The
Let's do
wheels
it.
are starting to come off.
Wrap it up.
All right. So we did have an artifact mentioned that is really clutch. Sword of the Animist. Not enough people play it. It's currently about $5 American. Definitely worth checking out. We then had Verge Rangers mentioned. That's also just coming up to $5 American. Really nice. That's a white human creature. Human Scout, definitely check it out if you're building mono white. Cartographer's Hawk, that's coming up to $3 now. Just a new creature that we've seen very recently in Commander 2020, worth checking out. Dawn of Hope, y'all know it. It's just under $3. Gain life, pay 2, draw a card. And then Lucas mentioned Alms Collector. So if somebody's drawing more than one card, you flash this in and draw off of it. This is a really good way to just get those triggers if somebody's getting 2 draws or more, getting those extra draws in. And then you have, we talked earlier about how there's a saga now that can fetch into your hand a Plains card, and that is the Birth of Melitus. It was printed not in Eldraine, it was in Theros. I mixed the two up for a moment. And and those are some of the big cards we've mentioned this session. Useful for mono white, keep your curve up, and pretty affordable, all things considered.
All things considered.
Yep, sweet. Well, there you go. We just solved all your mono white card playing
We
problems.
solved it by mentioning the most popular cards. Boom. Solved.
I mean, you solved my mono white curve problems, because now I have a bunch of cards that I'm going to pick up, some of which I had forgotten existed. And
crap.
Wait, Spencer, you forgot Mentor of the Meek.
Mentor of the Meek.
Oh yeah,
No,
Mentor of the
no.
Meek. Yeah.
That's
You
our
forgot,
Mentor of
you
the Meek.
forgot
Knight
of the-
Inheritance.
Knight of the White Orchid.
What about Inheritance? And also Truce. Remember Truce? Everybody draws 2 cards.
Those ones. Whoops. Those ones are.
I like Inheritance. I think that's actually fun. You know.
Oh, man.
But
Yeah, cool. Well, I think it's about that time, folks.
to wrap this
Yeah.
up.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody. If you haven't yet, please check out our YouTube channel. Got our awesome EDH gameplay episodes on there. Feel free to check us out on social. We're very active in there. Love chatting with everybody and getting connected with the community. And also, feel free to join our own Magic community on our Discord channel.
Say what?
Got a link below here on Twitch. We've got it everywhere. Come on, join it. Hang out, chat with us. Make some new friends. Look for some pods. All right, we're always active. Love to see more of you guys and hang out with us and talk some Magic.
Hey, absolutely.
Yeah.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Keep on
All right.
slanging.
Bye.
yeah.
Spencer said it first. All right, adios, muchachos.
Yeah.
Cue outro. Go.
Activate.
Music for this episode was adapted from the song Wholesome by Kevin MacLeod. Further attribution information can be found in the episode description. If you want to support our channel, review, comment, or become a patron, you can also check out our EDH gameplay and other content on our YouTube channel.